In today's episode, when conformity to others means you're right rather than following the rules. Thanks for the free food, lady. Going along with a sexist car salesman. So let's get started. When conformity to others means you're right rather than following the rules. First post here. Forgive the syntax errors and storyline errors. I had to cut out a great deal to make this story somewhat manageable, and also, my first post here, so inexperience is gonna show. If y'all like it, I have plenty more from my time there. Last summer I was given the extraordinary opportunity to attend officer candidate school in Quantico, Virginia for the USMC. I cannot speak to how boot camp is for the enlisted, as I was and not a prior, but at OCS there is a certain amount of leeway that is given for independent thinking due to the strong emphasis on leadership. Despite that, conformity is paramount, and if you look out of place then you are wrong and also a target, which brings us to our story. Disclaimer, there will be small tangents here, but they are important to give clarity to certain details and nuances that are unique to the US military and the Marine Corps. The training program is 10 weeks. The daily routine did not change much for candidates. Wake up, PT, shower, go to class, etc. The entire time you are awake, the staff's job is to stress you out. Your only reprieve is class time, as you are expected to focus entirely on learning what is being taught to you. However, entering and leaving the hall is a cacophony of screaming and scurrying that never gets old. One tactic used to stress us out was to have our assault packs, backpacks with webbing on them that can be seen on periphery item carried by your local brovet, packed with so much sh*t that opening and closing the bag was not a quick endeavor. Nor was removing and replacing select items. The bulkiest of which was a 100 ounces CamelBak, which was removed from the backpack and placed on the rear of your seat when entering the lesson hall, and replaced into your bag when leaving. You had what felt like 30 seconds to perform this task, both entering and leaving. I discovered early on that were I to not get caught, simply leaving the water source in my bag and sipping from the tube was a much more expedient and less stressful way of entering and leaving the hall, so that is what I did. Soon others from my platoon began to catch on, but the other platoons seemingly did not. Enter independent thinking. Our candidate platoon commanders within the company, they would develop plans and get them approved by our instructor staff for the day-to-day goings of the platoon, would meet and cross-reference their individual platoon's plans so that all ideas meshed and every platoon was in sync. This normally took place when everyone was supposed to be sleeping, because it required sneaking out and going up a deck or two to the rendezvous spot. At some point towards the end of our cycle, my method of handling the study hall was proposed to the other candidates, I am assuming. I was not there, I did not forward the idea. I simply was in the right place at the right time to see this plan unfold the next day. Cue our malicious compliance to adherence to conformity. Our day starts with the usual amount of screaming and scurrying. Virginia is hot and muggy, our staff is calling members various names and informing our platoon that we would have been better uses to society as abortions. All is right with the world as we march to the study hall, henceforth called Jekyll Hall. I enter the hall, remove my cover, hat, place my M16 into the armory, and scurry over to a seat to grab my textbook and begin screaming knowledge as we wait to start. I smirk, which is normally asking to have one-on-one PT time with your favorite staff member, but because of the pandemic, everyone is wearing masks, and say to myself, the girls, first platoon, left their water sources in their assault packs as well. Well, I was not the only person to notice. So too did a staff sergeant from 1st Platoon. Tangent and important distinction. In the Marine Corps, women train women and men train men. Segregation by S*X is alive and well. And these women are the toughest and meanest individuals I have ever come across. To round this out, these particular sergeant instructors were doubly sadistic to their platoon and anyone else who was near them. To have one take notice of you, or to question you, was not something that was sought out. Back to the story. Staff Sergeant Rage calls the candidate platoon sergeant and candidate platoon commander over into the aisle. "What is wrong with your platoon?" she asks exacerbatedly. The candidates do not immediately know what she is asking about. After a couple of more angry questions comes the winning ticket. Why is it that after all this time, your entire platoon sees fit to leave their CamelBaks inside of their assault packs? Have we ever done that? Has that ever been okay? Why is that happening? Candidate: wish you weren't here. At this point, I am looking out of the corner of my eye and straining my ears to hear, because I wanted no part of this staff sergeant's wrath, and felt sorry for what was happening to this platoon commander. She responds, screams back, with an absolute unit of answers, which was one this staff sergeant never expected. Good morning, Staff Sergeant. These candidates' water sources are in their assault packs, because the other platoons in the company are doing the same thing. The SSGT thought she misheard. What did you just say? The candidate repeats herself in a more confident tone. It was at this point I saw one of the most comical looks appear on a staff member's face. The SSGT looks around and notices everyone else doing the exact same thing. She realized exactly what had been orchestrated, but also knew that lack of conformity kills. She would not punish the entire company even though we were all breaking the rules, and could not hold up the lesson, as there was a strict schedule to keep. After a brief look of shock mixed with befuddlement, the SSGT regained her composure, and stated very well then, and simply left. After that moment, our company had one less thing to remove from our bags, and one less thing to replace in our bags. It's the little victories that matter. And I am certain that whoever that candidate was counted that moment as David toppling Goliath. I hope you enjoyed my story. Thanks for the free food, lady. Not sure if this story fits this sub, but it just happened and I want to share it somewhere. I lost my job due to pretty annoying circumstances we all are aware of, and I've been struggling since it started. Eating less and less every day to make food last. I happened to find my old bike and decided that I could maybe start working doing delivery services. Business was slow at first, but my contact managed to land on some nice people that thought they could help me out, and I don't charge a lot, just the exact amount of money I need to buy whatever they want plus the delivery fee, which is basically nothing in my country. Normally I charge the delivery fee after I've delivered the food. Today a new lady called me asking if could buy her groceries, like 2 weeks worth of groceries for a family of 4. This is a lot of money. At first she refused me to pay me the amount for the groceries, but after I explained her that my only income was going to be the delivery fee, and her calling me a untrustable bitch a few times, she finally figured out how my system works, and how I will not be able to steal from her. She agreed. In other circumstances I wouldn't have argued and just let her go the moment she became rude, but I need the money. So off I went to buy the things. My bike doesn't have a place for me to put a basket or something, so I have to carry all of my deliveries in a backpack. It normally isn't a problem, but today I had to carry around maybe 50 kilograms, maybe more, not sure. It was heavy AF worth of food in my backpack and in the bike's handles for 2 hours while biking around the city. When I finally make it to this lady's house, which was not in an easy route, I took some minutes to just lay down on the sidewalk in front of the building and texted the lady. When she came down, she expected me to carry her stuff up to her apartment too. I said sorry, I was too tired, and it was too much weight. Also, unless they really need me to help, I do not carry the stuff up to their apartments. It makes me uncomfortable, especially if they have a family that can help, but I was unable to answer her fully cause I was still trying to catch my breath. If you can't deal with it, then don't work as a delivery worker. Ugh, whatever. I'll call my husband. Is it going to be 5? She said. I need to sort that out with you. I normally charge 5, but due to this delivery being particularly hard for me, is 7 okay for you? This was a 2-hour trip biking with around 50 kilograms. No. I am not paying you that. You charged my friends 5. Yes, I charged them 5 because they asked for less stuff and the trip was shorter. It was easier. In reality I should have charged double for this, but I think 7 is a good comp, and as I was talking, I sneezed. Oh no. I'm an allergic person. I am supposedly allergic to dust, but honestly my allergies trigger with everything. Today was a cold morning, so I already had a runny nose, so the mask wasn't helping a lot with keeping stuff out of my nose. What? You have the V. I should have known since you go around with that bike. Now you've contaminated my food and want to overcharge me? Oh no, you little bitch, I am calling the cops on you. Give me my money back. No, wait, I'm just allergic too. I am probably infected too. Now you should have told me, and now you are going to bring it into my home. What have you done? She was also wearing a mask, and had a bottle of hand sanitizer which she was now rubbing frantically in her hands while still rabbling about how I was a horrible person and a bitch and a scammer and a thief and a threat to her and her children. The insults were growing more and more. She even demanded for me to go to my house, disinfect her food, and then deliver it back cause it's the least I could do. My house is an hour away. Ma'am, I can't do that, I assure you it's fine. I've been isolated the full 4 months, I've only been working on this for around 2 weeks and that is enough time to get it. You are going to leave my children without a mother, oh God. I tried to argue for some more minutes, but it got extremely ridiculous. I couldn't give her back the money of her groceries, I couldn't disinfect them either, too broke to buy my own hand sanitizer. LMAO, she wouldn't take the food nor pay me the delivery fee, and I wasn't going to leave without giving her the food and without being paid. But she wasn't even arguing or finding a solution, she just wanted me to take this V away from her and her house. Damn, she screamed so much other neighbors started to come down, and she wouldn't even let me explain, and accused me of coming to infect them all. Her husband even came down and ended up threatening me with the police too. I asked them if they wanted the food or not, at this point being fed up with the whole situation, and they said they didn't want anything from me and to just leave. So now I'm home with a backpack full of 2 weeks worth of food for 4 people. It's too much for me, but I'll probably gift half of it to my boyfriend who also needs it. I am sad all of this happened, and I feel like I stole from that people, but in the moment it was so ridiculous. I tried to give them the food many times, hell at one point I just didn't care about being paid even though I needed it, but they were just so rude to me. I wish I could tell you all of the insults they threw at me, but I am unable to translate them. I still got more food than what I could have bought with the delivery fee, so I guess it was worth it. Going along with a sexist car salesman. I originally posted this as a comment on car dealer shenanigans. My wife and I have used a salesman's sexism against him, and it was so satisfying. It was when we bought our first new car. We were nervous that we didn't know what we were doing, so we did a lot of research. It helps that my wife is a librarian. When we got to the dealer, the salesman would only talk to me. I was all buddy-buddy with the guy too, but he completely ignored my wife. We went along. The dealer was running a promotion where they would give you $X for your trade-in, no matter what condition. If you can drive it on the lot, kind of deal. Of course they just don't discount off of MSRP in those cases, so it's a gimmick. When we walked in, the salesman asked which car was ours parked outside, and then asked if we were trading it in. I said no, we weren't trading that car in. You can see where this was going. As I said, we had done our research and knew what a fair price was for the car we wanted. At the time, Edmunds had detailed dealer-level price information for many new cars, including all the various ways a dealer gets paid and what their true costs are. The invoice price is not their true cost. I negotiated the price, since he wouldn't talk to my wife, and we arrived at a number I thought was fair. Actually, we got a good deal at that point. Everything was going smoothly as he wrote up our agreement, until he confirmed that we didn't have a trade-in. I said no, we were trading in a car, just not the one we drove into the dealer in. He literally froze for a few seconds looking down at the form, his hand hovering over the page. He asked the make, model, and year of our trade-in, and when I told him, he sputtered and balked. The car we were trading in was on its last legs. I'd had it all during college, and it was old before I bought it. It was definitely past its prime. I said, I thought you were running a promotion where the quality of the trade-in doesn't matter. I asked him if he would have given us a higher price if he knew we had a trade-in. My wife said under her breath, that's sleazy. He heard, as she intended him to. He then tried to renegotiate the price. We knew from our research that if they gave us the price we had already agreed on, and they honored the trade-in deal, that they would be losing money. So we were willing to move a bit, but we wanted to take our time. He was visibly nervous. Every time he tried a new way of asking for a higher price, I would say something like, "I understand what you're saying," with a sympathetic look. Then I would look at my wife and she would look back at me and silently shake her head no. I'd then look back at the salesman and shrug and say, "I don't think that's going to work." He was stuck. She was the one standing in the way of him getting out of his predicament, but he hadn't talked to her at all. He had barely even acknowledged her presence. He just couldn't start talking to her now when we were negotiating. Oh, and I even got to use the classic car salesman line, "What do I have to do for you to put me this car today?" We finally agreed to raise the price to an amount that, after figuring in the trade-in, was what we had thought was their break-even price. We hadn't expected to get that low of a price, and we also got them to install a nice aftermarket sound system. It's the best deal we've ever gotten on a new car. Honestly, we're not the best negotiators individually, but that day we made one hell of a team. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.